Okay, this is the 965i, getting started, programming, reading, too much information. Okay, let's discuss page 14. To program means telling the computer what functions you want the knitting machine to perform. Built into the computer memory are 615 different stitch patterns and designs, so in order to knit one of them, you must tell the computer. Should you want to design your own stitch patterns, you must store this in the memory of the computer. You can also delete this information when it is no longer needed. Take time to learn the functions of the computer and you will enjoy your knitting machine to the full. Pattern program. When you want the machine to knit a particular stitch pattern, you must enter this information by using the pattern program mentioned on page 15. So that's next. Memo program. This will tell the machine to give you information to change color of yarn, which lace change lever setting to use, etc. See page 23. So that's coming. The input program. When you want to enter your own stitch pattern design, use the input key. You can also delete it. See page 25. Check program. Use the check program to ensure you have entered all the information correctly. See page 29. Whew, that is a lot to absorb. Don't worry. We're going to go page by page. All right. Pattern program. Page 15. The following functions are used to program your machine to knit patterns. Read through each section. Then you will find a guide for both basic and motif programming on page 20. So, selector. There are two selectors on the panel. First of all, you have to choose whether you want selector 1 or 2. Selector 1, all over pattern knitting, using the pattern as designed. Makes sense. Selector 2, motif, or all over pattern knitting, using part of a pattern. You can program a max of 9 pattern areas on the garment. Each pattern area is called motif, and you can use different patterns for each area. The number of rows of the pattern for motif 2 to 9, however, are automatically set to the same as that of motif 1. Okay, that's going to be really, really interesting. So, example, single motif knitting. Same pattern knitted in 2 different spots. 2 different patterns knitted in 2 different areas, or all over using just 1 pattern. Ooh. Okay, so that was just on selector 1. We're going to start a new video for variation key. Okay, so part 2 of pattern program is the variation key. By pushing the variation keys, you can change your pattern. See page 31. Now it's going into the step lamp. Okay, I'm going to start a new video for that one. Okay, so part 3, step lamp. To move each section of the programming, you push the step key, follow the step lamp, and answer the question the machine is asking before pushing the step key again to move on to the next section. So, pattern number lamp, pattern framing lamp, used with selector 2 only, the bottom row of the pattern, the top row of the pattern, the left end of the pattern, the right end of the pattern. So 2-1 is down here. So bottom row, 2-2, top row, 2-3, the left end of the pattern, and 2-4 is the right end of the pattern. part 3 of the step lamp is the first needle position lamp. Okay. And then part 4, motif width lamp used with selector 2 only. So 4-1, the left end needle of the motif, and number 2 is the right end needle of the motif. When the ready lamp is lit, push the step key. The ready lamp goes off and the pattern number lamp will be lit. Okay. This is still in step lamp. So P, no lamp, pattern number lamp. When it is lit, enter the pattern number to be knitted with numeral keys. The following pattern numbers can be programmed into your machine. 1 to 555 for programming one of the 555 built-in patterns from the Stitch World 1 book. So that's the yellow one. Is it here? 1 second. Stitch World 1. For programming one of the 60 built-in patterns from Stitch World 2. So Stitch World 2, 801 to 860. If you type in 701, it will just print the word brother. 703, double edge tuck stitch braid. Holy Dinah. Select to be position needles, 5 yellow, 6 green, push needles to... Okay, I'm going to read that again. Select to be position needles, 5 yellow, 6 green, push needles number 1 and 2 yellow and 2 and 3 green back down to A position. Cast on over the remaining needles, take carriage past the left turn mark, turn carriage knob to KC2, knit from left to right, push both tuck buttons and knit braid. Cool. That'll be hopefully in the book. Oh, okay, we will look at that in a second. 901 to 998 for programming your own design, see page 25. 601, 626 uppercase alphabet. 627 to 652 lowercase alphabet. And these are all listed on page 86. This here graphic says pattern number 100 in Stitch World. Pattern numbers 100. Number of rows. Number of stitches. And the number of contrast yarn is shown in the Memo display. Okay, I'm sure we're going to see that shortly. That's page 16. Pattern framing lamp used with selector 2 only. Okay, that needs its own video. Okay, so we are discussing the pattern framing lamp selector use of selector 2 only. This is for framing a portion of the selected pattern to be knitted. You have to set the bottom row, top row, left and right end of the selected pattern to be knitted. When you enter the pattern number, the computer will automatically set the data 1 to 4 to knit the whole pattern. If you only wish to knit part of the pattern, enter your coordinated instead as your own coordinate. Oh, okay. Enter your own coordinate instead as below. So, for pattern 100, it is 40 rows by 20 stitches. So the computer will read it as row 1 of the pattern, row 40 of the pattern, 20 to the right, and 1 to the left. Or left and then right. So the entire width of the pattern and the entire length of the pattern is input into the machine. You can frame any part of the pattern you require. You can frame a pattern with a blank space, which gives the effect of more spaced out pattern on the garment. So the instance here, we have row 1 to row 24, which leaves you the stem, and then 9 stitches, which is the larger cherry, with 1 row of no knitting on the right and 1 row of no knitting on the left. And again, it is the 20, so it reads it from left to right is what I'm getting. So this would start at 9 to 20. Okay, take 5 stitches between the patterns. So this one is 1 to 20, but you add an extra 5. So you have stitch 1 all the way to 25, which it extends the pattern, which extends the spacing. We got that. Now for just taking the leaf part, it starts at row 6, not row 6, stitch 6, and it starts at row 31 and then goes to 20, so 20 is the last row, and then 45 extends the top, which gives you, the lips. Note, you can enter settings 1 through 4 for motif 1, however you cannot change 1 and 2 for motif 2 to 9, so the pattern framing lamp 1 and 2 will not be lit for motif 2 to 9. The height is automatically entered the same as motif 1. You must enter the tallest pattern as motif 1. So if you're doing the foot and the cherry, you have to do the foot, not the cherry. So the cherry cannot be motif 1, it has to be motif number 2. Okay. First needle position lamp, or FN position lamp. This is for setting up the first needle position, the left end stitch of the selected pattern. Enter the data with the needle position key and the numeral key. What is first needle position? First of all, we need to understand how a pattern is positioned on the knitting. Let's take pattern 100 from Stitch World, the cherry pattern. This is how the machine sees the pattern as it is graphed out. So if we look at Stitch World, hang on here, Stitch World 100. Okay, here it is in your Stitch World book. That is pattern 100. Okay, now let's read. Stitch World is the cherry pattern. This is how the machine sees the pattern graphed out. The first column of the stitches in the pattern marked by an arrow in our diagram is the one we need to identify. When the pattern is knitted when the pattern is knitted, each stitch has its own needle. The needle which corresponds with the first stitch of the pattern repeat is called the first needle position. Okay. Needle positions. If you look at the numbered strip on the needles of the machine, you will see that the left side is numbered in yellow and the right side in green. This is so that the computer can distinguish between two needles of the same number. For example, number 10 on the right is green and number 10 on the left is yellow. First needle position in Selector 1. The first needle position of an all-over pattern is set automatically to place the pattern centrally on the needle bed, then repeat out from there. When one pattern repeat consists of an even number of stitches, the center of the pattern repeat will have half of the stitches on the left of 0 and the other half to the right. So that's why they use the cherry, because it's 20 stitches. When the pattern repeat consists of an odd number of stitches, the center stitch is automatically placed on green 1. That's important to know. The first needle position of this pattern is automatically set to the needle number yellow 7 or Y7. And the opposite side is on green 8. You can change the first needle position and move it to either the right or the left. Example, change the first needle position to yellow 15 from yellow 10. The new first needle position in this information can be of your own choosing, first needle position which was placed automatically. So the example here, I don't know if you can see that. Not quite. Okay. Let me move the camera just, oh no, you can see it. Okay. So here it says 15 and the original was 10. The original pattern position which was placed automatically by the computer. So you can see how they're kind of offset. Whew. Bottom of page 18 says first needle position in selector 2. You have to set the first needle position by yourself for each motif. All right. Motif width lamp. This is for setting the knitting width for each motif, used in selector 2 only. Enter the data with the needle position key and numeral key. Motif width lamp will be lit 1 and 2 in order by pushing the step key. The lamp 1 is to set the needle you want to start knitting your motif, and the lamp 2 is for ending your motif. Okay. In the following examples, the first needle position is set to yellow 15. Knit triple motif 3 pattern repeats in one motif. The pattern repeat is 20 stitches, so 3 will be 60 stitches. We have to tell the computer to knit the motif over 60 needles. Enter Y15 as the left end motif width and enter green 45 as the right end motif width. Example number 2. First needle position is still 15. By changing the motif width, you can obtain various pattern combination. Enter yellow 47 as the left end motif width and enter yellow 8 as the end motif width. Alright. We're going to have to practice this. Using selector 2 for an overall pattern, by using selector 2 you can take part of a pattern and spread it over the garment. For example, select part of the cherry, the pattern is 12 stitches wide. Enter yellow 100 to start patterning on the left end, and enter G100 as the right end of the pattern. By programming this way, you will be sure the pattern will appear right across the knitting as with selector 1. Oh my lord. So now we have page 20. When using selector 1, variation key, selector 1, step, enter the pattern number, step, enter the first needle position, push step again, and the machine will give you the first needle position to center the pattern. Press step and the pattern is ready. When using Selector 2, the MIMO display shows motif 1 that you are programming. Switch on variation key first in case your patterns need to use variation keys, upside down to knit from the beginning. So Selector 2, and then motif pattern 1, page 16, page 17, page 18, page 19, goes into motif 2, pattern number, then page 17, 18, 19, and that'll repeat. When you have 9 motifs to input the data for motif 9. Pattern program is completed. To knit, turn to page 47. And the total number of motifs is less than 9. You have 3 motifs. Enter 0 when the MIMO display shows 4. Oh boy. Alright, if you enter wrong data by mistake, if you have not pushed the step key, push CE key to clear the data in the display window and enter the correct data. If you have already pushed the step key, continue to program your pattern. When finished, enter the correct data using the check program. See the next page. Oh Lord, this is going to be fun. Okay. How to check and correct your pattern program. Okay, we're going to stop this video, take a breath, and we're going to do how to check and correct your pattern program in the next video. If you could not tell, I am overwhelmed at this point. I do not understand all of this information, but it's going to get even worse before it gets better.